Auntie Georgina Nicholson, who is an elder of the Wurundjeri peoples who actually occupy and own the space that we're on.
Thank you, Elaine. Wominjeka, welcome everyone. Hello, my name is Georgina Nicholson and I am a proud Wurundjeri woman. Wurundjeri being part of the Kulin Nation. The Kulin Nation consists of 5 clans and they are Wurundjeri, Boonwurrung, Wathaurong, Tamarong and Djadjarung. Wurundjeri being all of Melbourne CBD and surrounding country, extending north to the Great Dividing Range, east to Mount Baw, south to Mordialloc Creek, and west to the mouth of Werribee River. So I would like to acknowledge and pay my respect to our ancestors who walked this land as free spirits, to our elders past, present and emerging, to all Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today, and other elders. I would also like to acknowledge the ASIST Association and key organisers, Elaine Thomas, Lydia Middleton, Kathy Blake and Cecilia Brown. And I would also like to especially acknowledge the keynote speaker for today, Michaela Jade. Wominjeka Wurundjeri Balak Yemen Kundibik. So I would just like to tell you what I've said in our Wurrung language, and that is welcome to the land of the Wurundjeri people. So my mother, Martha Margaret Nicholson, nee Terry, was delivered by her grandmother, Granny Jemima, and that was on Corrandirk Aboriginal Mission near Hillsville. So our mother was already learning the importance of family and culture. Years later, our mother met a deadly Irishman called Patrick. They met on a blind date in the early 1930s. In 1937, Mummy and Daddy were married back then. It was in a registry office. And they had 16 children. 16 children. 8 girls, 8 boys, and no twins. No cheating, all single babies. Amazing. Myself being the youngest, and the oldest is my sister Pat Ockwell. Sister Pat is an amazing senior active elder. For as a young girl, for one thing, she gave up her dreams as a young girl because she wanted to be an athlete in the Olympics. She gave up all her dreams to stay at home with Mummy, to be looking after the babies coming all the time, because Daddy was in the Air Force back then and he couldn't keep taking leave. So he ended up getting a job in the local sawmill in Hillsville, and back then he rode a push bike. It was before we could get a car. So Sister Pat's very well known in Victoria, or beyond Victoria actually. She has managed several Aboriginal hostels for many years in the past. She has managed, she's been involved or worked for Aboriginal housing for many, many years in the past, and she's on many boards and committees, so forth. She's very active, and she's very active in her community. She lives in Noble Park. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's over Dandenong Way, where there is quite a high population of Indigenous peoples over there. So she's very active in what she does. In fact, she turned 82 this year, and for an Aboriginal woman to reach that age is a milestone, because the life gap is about probably 10 to 15 years less than other cultures. So that's really sad. But you know, we've still got her and she's going strong, so I'm really pleased for that. Although we only have 8 of us children alive now, and both my parents have also passed away. But we must carry on the culture for our future generations and for our people, for our ancestors. That's what I'm doing today. I'm doing this for my ancestors. and I'm doing it for my mum and all those strong. I come from a very long, unbroken line of strong Aboriginal women. I don't know if you've heard of William Barrack here in Melbourne. William Barrack. He was a navigator for our tribe many, many years ago. And his sister, Annie Barratt, is my direct bloodline. So, I wish I had pictures to show you, but I've got to get all that together because people keep saying it would be nice to put pictures up there and show you what she looks like. And, you know, she's so... But if you go onto Google and you have a look at King William Barrack, B-A-R-A-K, and his sister, Annie Barratt, B-O-R-A-T, you will see what I'm talking about. Very strong cultural women. My mum was very powerful also. We have an office at the Abbotsford Convent, which is where the Collingwood Children's Farm is in St Helens Street. In the convent itself, in the Gold Leaf building. So if you're in the area and you'd like to pop in and say hi, and you're around the area there, you know, it's during work time, please do. You'd be more than welcome. You can have a cup of tea and meet some elders. With our CEO, Alex Parmington. He actually has been with us for just over 10 years, and he was what do you call it, archaeologist, one of our archaeologists. They work in the office with us, and now he's taken over the CEO role, so he knows how pretty much roles in there and how it works. But I'd just like to say thank you very much, and I hope you all have a really good day today, and for the people that are staying on, you know, a good week, and I'm sure Michaela will have some really lovely, interesting cultural talk to say. So I think I'll leave it there. And thank you very much. Yeah, have a lovely day.
Thank you very much, Georgina. We certainly really appreciate that, and of course the hospitality of the peoples. I should first say that my name is Elaine Toms. I'm pretty sure I don't know all of you. I've been very surprised by the membership or the registration list for this conference and how many people we've had from this part of the world, which is very refreshing to see. I'm also a professor in information and innovation management at Sheffield in the UK. Now, I don't know about most of you from my part of the world, and that I was really hoping that I had left the British weather behind. I even noticed Georgina mentioned it to me as well, and hope that our time here would be better. But of course, I was happy to leave. I was hoping I would leave the weather behind with Brexit, trauma, and drama at this point in time. And I suppose the only good news story out of the UK is that the UK beat Australia in rugby yesterday, which of course, unless you're from that part of the world, rugby is unknown, and certainly when I grew up. This is ASIS' 82nd year, and I think that's an amazing accomplishment for an organization like us. And it has some ups and downs over that period of time. When I say ups and downs, it's changed its name a few times. But the notable thing for most of us in this room is that 6 years ago, it changed its focus from a US-based organization to an international and global one. And I think when we look around this room, we can see that we're actually having some success in that regard. 3 years ago, we met in Copenhagen. We're now very pleased to be on the opposite side of the world. And I think from the travel to have appreciated all of the trauma, I think, of traveling around the world that you've done to come to visit us in North America in those previous 76 years. The other thing I think we realize is it's Southeast Asia, there's Australia, New Zealand, and the rest of it, they're all there together. But when you fly over, you realize how huge this continent is and how discrete those pieces are. And I think we have to recognize that as we go forward in our development. Our theme today of this particular meeting, information anyone, anywhere, anytime, anyway, I think reflects our current worldly context. We've got information, we don't even need to go through the stories, used, abused, misused, etc. My former PhD supervisor, Jean Tag Sutcliffe, University of Western Ontario, for those of you who are from that part of the world or in information retrieval and evaluation, you know of her, said in her first book, or second book, information is like the air we breathe, so pervasive that we scarcely notice its existence, and yet so essential that we cannot live without it. think the world in general has been taking information simply for granted. I think it took Cambridge Analytics, and this is very sad to say, Cambridge Analytics to demonstrate to the world the value of data and information and how that data and information can be manipulated for nefarious means and also, I think, for good. I think we've known this for a long time within our community, and I think now the rest of the world knows it as well. But in a very weird way, I think what this has done for us is it's demonstrated to them the value of the work that we do. And I think in today's conference, today and the next 3 days, I think everybody will see examples of that very fine work. And in fact, how the information field has evolved in 82 years. I'm not going to discuss the association specifically today. Tomorrow we have a business meeting. If you're not a member of ASIS, don't worry about it. It's going to be lunch. Please come for lunch and we will tell you about...
Tuesday.
All right. I'm already a day ahead. That's because I'm so confused at which time zone I'm actually in. Thank you very much, Lydia. On Tuesday, the business lunch. It's a free food. Please come. If you're not a member, doesn't matter. If you are an unengaged member, doesn't matter. Please come and hear about our success stories. And we do have a very good news success story to tell this year. Please come for that, and please come for the ideas we want. We are going to propose, or actually we're putting them in play, I would say, about how we want to develop the organization in the next couple of years. Kathy and Cece will talk about the conference program itself. I want to emphasize the social times because I think those social times are so important. So tonight we're going to have a reception. The president, no, not tonight, it's the president's reception. Which one is tonight?
Student opening and international.
The students opening an international reception tonight. We've got an entire series of receptions. It's hard to keep track of them. Each night there is a different reception. The key one, I think, for a lot of us will be that reception on Monday night with posters, because that is a fabulous way to engage with those who are doing work in the field, especially students, and also learn something new. And don't forget Tuesday night, of course, because Tuesday night is the awards banquet, and that's when we'd like to honor those. It's really, I would say, the best of the best. Now, what I would like to do next is thank some people, because one of the things about a conference like this, or a meeting like this, is there's many things involved. And first, I'd like to thank the sponsors, because they really help us make things happen. Metric, SIG, our own SIG has actually helped us as well, SIG III, the Web of Science Group, and Wiley. And we'd also like to thank a group who have also been providing support or contributions in some fashion. And that would be one of our sisters, so I suppose you call them sisters, that sounds very sexist.
Allied.
I like that word better. Allied Societies, at least the Association for Library and Information Science Education. The Analysis and Policy Observatory, San Jose State University, the University of Buffalo, the University of Illinois, the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill, and the University of South Florida. And that's an interesting set of universities that are in the United States supporting a conference in Australia. Interesting. Now I would like to thank the people who made this meeting happen. I was really quite excited when I saw the program and what this turned out to be. Kathy Blake and Cece Brown have done, I think you would agree, an absolutely amazing job. I think before things start, we can even see the promise of this particular meeting. I'd like to ask them to come up for a small gift appreciation. And now I'm inviting Kathy and Cece to now give us a little more detail about the conference and also honor or more rewards the people that they've been involved with as well. Thank you very much. Turn this over to you.
Ooh, wow, it's so good to see all of you here. It's been a long journey to get here, and we're super excited, and we want to just share with you a little bit of data, because we love data, right? Number of papers, submissions and acceptances. They're long and short papers this year. We had 184 submitted and 78 accepted, so 43%. We're just thrilled that we had that many submitted. Panels and alternative events, 35 submitted, 20 were accepted. Poster submissions and acceptances, there's going to be 107 posters to look at and vote on. Kathy's going to talk about that, so that's about 63%. So altogether we have 272 speakers, 244 sessions, 370 attendees, 27 countries represented, 80 Australians, 8 New Zealanders, woo, Teresa, 84 from China, wonderful, and 184 from the US. So good data.
So it's nice to be back where I can say g'day without getting a spell check error. So I get the pleasure of actually thanking all of our wonderful co-chairs who did the heavy lifting of pulling the program committee together. So I was hoping that folks could make their way to the podium as I say your name so we can give you a certificate of appreciation, which is a small token for the many hours that you put into putting the program together. So Teresa Anderson. Mr. Varnum couldn't make it, but I know he's here in spirit. The panel and alternative event co-chairs are Joan Bartlett. Deepma Wolfram also couldn't make it. He was, I think, triple booked, so he's not able to join us. The poster co-chairs, Ian Rutherford from Strathclyde in the UK, also couldn't make it to join us today, but Dan Wu from Wuhan University. And I'd like to really send out a special thank you to the doctoral colloquium co-chairs, so Pina Fleischman, and Howard Rosenbaum. So, yeah, we have some. Oh, yeah, your presenter. So we wanted to bring your attention to the ASIS app. So if you have a mobile device, you might want to download it. You can find your sessions, you can add them to the day. One thing that you probably want to do before the posters is we have to determine the best poster award. And when I say we, I mean you. So you are going to vote for the best poster. You only get one vote, so use it carefully. But you do that through the app. For those of you that don't have mobile devices, we will have some paper ballots as you enter the poster room. But yeah, the app is a good way to get that done. We've really got a really good set of papers and panels for you to attend, but I also wanted to draw your attention to a couple of other things that you might be interested in. So one of them is the Birds of a Feather sessions. So these are taking place throughout the conference, and you can just drop in and catch up with colleagues and share some new ideas. But the one thing that is different this year was trying to have an international incubator session. So part of this was inspired by sort of this being the first time that ASIST is in this part of the world. And although we always get people from around the world, we really wanted to leverage that international community. And so we invited people, global thought leaders, to put these incubator sessions together. And they are on a range of topics: global data sharing, ethical AI, mobilizing ASIST chapters, youth engagement, social media bubbles, and we had a session yesterday on poverty, which is next year's key theme. And so I encourage you to sort of hang out in one of these sessions. The goal is to really, ASIS has a lot to do with actually solving some of these problems. And so we're hoping that these will be places where we can bring together you all and put together a proposal or a white paper or something that articulates what we as a community can do to address some of these grand challenges. So I think this is a real opportunity. We inevitably have these conversations in the corridor, and so this year we wanted to actually allow space in the program to actually start those conversations. So I strongly encourage you to take advantage of those. And then, let's see, I think Cece is going to tell us about, actually one more thing. I just wanted to mention Helena T, who is going to be giving a closing session on Tuesday. She comes from a health setting, but she very much has a view of sort of information being a catalyst to help in that health environment. So I'll introduce Michaela in just a second, but I just wanted to share with you, stick around till Tuesday, it will be worth it.
I just realized that we didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Cece, this is Kathy, in case you know. And I get the wonderful pleasure today to announce and to congratulate the people who won the Best Paper Awards. Our reviewers did a really good job figuring out which were the best papers. It wasn't easy. Teresa and Minot really did an awesome job. So let's first go ahead, and we had 2 in a long paper section and 2 in the short, one for a student and one for a more seasoned researcher. So let's first welcome the long paper for in the more seasoned category, Scientist Data Discovery and Reuse Behavior, Metadata Fitness for Use and Fair Data Principles by Bradley Bishop, Carol Hank, Joel Webster, and Rebecca Howard. Come on up, who's over here.
I'm the same
It goes by weight. And our long student paper, the Best Paper Award is Proactive Identification of Query Failure by Jingku Liu and Shirag Shah. Come on up. Come on up. Is Jingku not here? Yeah, there you are. Come on up. Yeah. And for the short paper, Noticing the Unnoticed, Lines of Work in Everyday Life Information Practices by Nicole Dahmer and Pam McKenzie. Are you here? Well, we'll give them a round of applause anyway. And the student paper, A Good Intention Gone Awry, Queering Makerspaces to Support Queer Creators by Diana Flogo. Thank you so much. And then, last but not least, before we turn it over to Michaela, where'd this go? You can't hear me now.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Should I shout?
I think they're figuring out over there what's going
I
on.
know.
AV is on the run.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Okay, Best Reviewer Awards. If you please go ahead and make your way as I announce their name. It's the people who really did the best, most thorough reviews of the papers, which is incredibly helpful to the people who submit the papers. It's really nice to know. So, Beth St. John, are you here for the reviewers of long papers?
She's not.
She's not here. And Adam, I know you're here. Come on up. Adam Worrell, short papers. Hand over to you.
So there's a couple mentioned downloading the app before, so that if you haven't done that, it's something that you want to do. There will be a quick 2-question survey on Wednesday, and then a full meeting evaluation on Wednesday. So try and keep those, try and respond to those when you get those emails. And then just after your session, just make your way to the atrium so that we can all enjoy each other's company. So I guess I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing our first plenary speaker. And I have to say up front that I'm thrilled that it's somebody from my hometown, but she has much more to offer than that. So Michaela Jade established her startup company called InDigital in 2012, and the goal was to bring augmented and mixed reality to Australia's Indigenous communities, telling their stories on country through new and emerging technologies. InDigital's product includes a line of t-shirts and postcards and Aboriginal art that comes alive when it's paired with a mobile device. So it's this nice mix of technology and culture and physical artifacts as well. The company also creates applications for other businesses and is currently working with Microsoft to tell the story of the Namadi, a 60,000-year-old figure of Kakadu National Park. Kakadu's in the middle for those of you that aren't local, and it's beautiful. And it uses the tech giant's HoloLens product in order to really bring these ancient characters to life. InDigital works with traditional owners in the community to actually create these holograms of themselves talking about their stories in their own language. And Jade says that InDigital's overarching goal is to constantly push the boundaries of what mixed reality technology can do. Michaela's been recently named as the Vogue Clino New Generation Award, which recognises the success of up-and-coming female entrepreneurs under the age of 40. It's very impressive. But I think the real story here is that Michaela Works provides us with this fantastic example of what happens when you can combine creativity with technology to empower lots of people. And so I'm thrilled that she's able to join us today and share her mission with us as we all face very changing circumstances. I think she's an icon of somebody who can really leverage these changes in order to empower people. So please join me in welcoming Ms.
Thanks, Kathy. Thanks. So I have a lapel one, so I don't know if I need to stand here or here, or I'll just wander around now, but it might be easier for you if I stay in one spot. Is that right?
Feel free to move around.
Okay. So thank you for having me at ASIST. My name is Michaela Jade. I am a proud Cabral woman from the Darug-speaking Nation in the Sydney Basin. And Wanami Wudiri Gumara, hello in my language. And it's a privilege for me to say those words because no one in my family spoke them for more than 90 years. And I'm very proud to be able to stand on stage and speak my name all the time. So as Kathy mentioned, I have been working in mixed and augmented reality. I started this journey because I didn't know my own culture until I was 29. I've been a park ranger for 18 years and I was compelled to learn about my culture when I was put on country to work with Aboriginal people who identified me as Aboriginal before I knew it was true myself. So I'm going to share a little bit about my story of how we started InDigital and why we do the work we do and where we're headed next. And I'm going to warn you, I might be swallowing a bit of the red meal, but you guys are all in data, so I'm pretty sure it won't be a surprise to you where things are going. So this is a map of Australia. It's probably what it looked like when you looked at where Melbourne was when you were travelling here. This is the way that most people see our country. We have 7 states and territories. I just know that Canberra's not even on there, so that's a fail. It is the capital of our country. It sits within the red part, which is New South Wales, around its own territory. But I want to show you how the world looks to Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islanders in Australia. We have 300 nations in this country and 600 dialects, and we're all unique cultures So when we talk about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, we emphasise the S because we're not the same. We're not a collective group of people in Australia. Although we do share some challenges and we do share some experiences among our culture, particularly through colonisation. And because we were so diverse and still are so diverse, we have special ways of communicating our culture across the land still today. And this is what we call a songline map. So this is how we're all connected culturally through the whole country. And we traded from one side to the other, in the north to the south, and we even traded with Indonesians and Macassans. We're very economic people. We've had a very incredibly long history of trading. And some people say 150,000 years that we've been doing our culture here. We know it's been since the beginning of time. We are the oldest living cultures in the world. So who am I? I'm just a park ranger. I started my career when I was 18 working in the Whitsundays, which is a horrible place if you've never been there. I wanted to connect with the land because I knew from when I was a child that I was strongly connected to the land, and I thought I was just really good at environment and knowing about the bush. And as I came into my parks career, I was asked to negotiate multi-clan tribal agreements along the Queensland coast. And these agreements were to tell traditional owners not to take dugong and turtle for their cultural practices, and indeed commit the future generations to not doing so as well. As a 21-year-old woman, this was an incredibly difficult and challenging job, and I didn't want to do it. But my boss told me that they would only talk to me and that I had to be the one that went into the traditional owners' homes and negotiate these agreements for them to stop their culture. And as I went into the homes, the women pushed the paper aside and said to me, "What's your country, girlie? Where's your place?" And I kept saying, "Australia." And they said, "No, who's your people?" And I just didn't know that that was part of my heritage, but they had seen it in me. And it happened again 8 years later when I went to Western Australia to work at Ingaloo Reef. And I was pushed by an elder there to finally reconnect with my people because she recognised my facial features as being the same as some people that were down the road, which was 800 kilometres away. And indeed, my dad comes from that side of the country. So I was forced to look into my heritage, and I had asked my mother about it. And she grew up in the 50s where we had the White Australia policy. And in Australia, our people, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, weren't classified as people until the referendum in 1967. So when my mother was born, and in the first sort of 12 to 14 years of her life, she was not even counted as a citizen, had she been identified as an Aboriginal child. So my family had kept our culture from us. And I realised when I finally connected with my people that this started at the beginning with Governor Macquarie and the first settlers here. So you can see I'm a park ranger. I work with Microsoft now and Telstra, rolling out digital skills programs for Indigenous peoples, and I also am a representative at the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues in New York, and I go there to advocate for digital equality for our peoples. This was a letter that changed my life. So I know that you're all in information technology, and text mining is really exciting to me because it did literally change my life. Once I had been able to confront my family about my history, my grandfather brought up this letter that had recently been found in a library. And in the letter it says that my ancestor, Lucy Lean, was the last remaining Aboriginal woman born on the banks of the Georges River. And she had got all the older men and all the important people in Parramatta to sign this letter saying that yes, she was Aboriginal, but she was worthy of a vote. Because she and her husband, William, were farming food, and there was people starving in the colony down the river, and she wanted a boat to be able to transport the produce down to the colony in Sydney. And this was the letter that confirmed our Aboriginality. So I started looking into who are the Cabrogal and trying to find my tribe. And what does Cabrogal mean? well, everything in our country and our culture has a name, and it's a very descriptive culture. So when you say a word, it tells you exactly what that word means. And looking through Cabral culture, I found out that this is my totem. So ugly, right? When I found out, I was like, oh, I hope it's a whale or something like an eagle or a possum or something really cool. But it's this. This is a mollusk. It's really gross actually. It is a bivalve that lives in the estuarine areas all around the world actually, but in the Sydney Basin, it's our brother. And we have a place called Cabramatta in Sydney, which actually means the place in the water where the copper grubs are. Are there any footy fans here? No? Wow, not one? Oh, there's one. Do you know the Parramatta Eels? Yeah. So Parramatta means the place in the water where the eels lay. So all the words around Sydney actually come from our direct language. But back to the copper grub. So when I saw this, I said to my auntie, we need a totem makeover. This is horrendous. And she said, no, you just do a totem. It's a very good reason why that's the totem. And what we'd seen through all this text mining about Cabral people is that we love to eat these things. And we would sit on the banks of the river and we would gorge and eat many, many, many of them. And I'm a biologist, so I'm like, that's really difficult to find. It's on the water, right? It's a real pain to get to. So our people used to fashion really long, thin bones out of kangaroo shins with a little hook on it. And we used to be able to poke the bone into the wood and pull the grub out. Really fiddly, right? We had loads of stuff to eat. We were farmers. We grew lots of yam in the Sydney Basin. So it just didn't really add up to me that this was a food source. And it turns out that everyone in about 17 journals had said this was a food source that I found through the library. Back to this one time where someone in 1788 witnessed our people gorging these and then leaving the delicacies of their stomach on the beach. And of course at that time, smallpox was coming through and all our people were dying. And I went into the medical journals and I then went into the scientific journals and I discovered this is actually a medicine. It's one of the only animals in the world that makes its own antibiotics. So our people were trying to medicate ourselves when we were being recorded as eating these things. Oops, wrong one. This one. This is what it does to the wood. You've probably seen it. You've ever seen wood with holes in it. Okay, so I'm just going to show a little video about the technology I use now and why I do it, and then we'll come back.
The winner of the Veuve Clicquot New Generation Award is Michaela J.
My name is Michaela Jade and I'm the CEO and founder of InDigital, which is an Indigenous augmented reality company. I found out when I was 29 that I'm an Aboriginal woman from the Cabral clan. I come from a strong line of Aboriginal women. Madame Clicquot was bold and fierce and nothing stopped her from achieving her vision. And I think Indigenous female entrepreneurs need to be like that today to have impact in 7 generations. InDigital is a company that works with Indigenous people in Australia and hopefully around the world. We at the moment have created mixed and augmented realities for Indigenous storytelling on country but also off country, so we can have cultural experiences in a classroom or in a museum setting. What it enables you to do is go to a cultural place and hold your phone up and the right story at the right time at the right place is being told by the right person. Madame Clicquot invented rosé champagne, which has been loved by thousands of people for many generations. InDigital is hoping to achieve the same thing with our Indigenous storytelling. We are looking at 2170, that's the year that we want people to still be hearing the voices, the language, the songs and the stories of Indigenous peoples living today. The Veuve Clicquot New Generation Award is so important in establishing and amplifying the narrative that young women are powerful, fierce entrepreneurs that can achieve their dreams. And I'm so proud to be an ambassador or winner of this award now, particularly for Indigenous women who may not feel that they have a place on a stage like this. they do.
Yes, that was a really awesome award to win because you get champagne every year for the rest of your life. Really, really cool. Also, it's a pretty amazing award to win because I'm an Aboriginal woman working in cutting-edge tech from remote communities. And that's primarily a unicorn to some people that I've spoken to. So when we create the holograms and the mixed reality, I'm really conscious about intellectual property rights for First Peoples. And the 4 questions that we always start with before we work with any communities are these. What data's being created on you? So the metadata, and through you, the created data. Who owns that data? Where's the data stored? And how do you control and make money from that data? They're really important questions for all our First Peoples. We've never been asked this before when we've been working in the digital space. And we're in the 4th industrial revolution now where data is money. And we need to be really cognizant of what our potential is from this new economy as well. We all know that traditional owners' lands have been used for mineral resource extraction, particularly in Australia and Canada. And I'm trying to help our people see that we can actually make money from our minds and our knowledge rather than having to dig things out of the ground. So we work in mixed and augmented reality, and a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to play with augmented or mixed reality, so I'd just like to put this slide up to say the difference between virtual, augmented and mixed realities. So VR is when you're in the headset and you can't see anyone else, you're in a totally made up environment or a video. AR is when we simply place digital content on top of the real world, so you can see the real world, but there's a digital layer on there. And mixed reality is when that happens, but the data also interacts with the real world. So what we do in HoloLens is we program content so it knows when there's a table, a chair, a wall, a floor, a rock art site, and it can interact and walk around those things as well. So it's pretty cool technology. The reason I focused on augmented and mixed reality is I'm very strong on our people maintaining the right to immerse people in our cultural places and with our artworks and objects, being able to see them, and mostly being able to experience our culture with other people. Culture is rarely experienced alone. It's really important for our people that when we're telling cultural stories that people can still do that together. And augmented and mixed reality still allows you to have that community opportunity to share culture. So this is the app. You can download it for free, and I've put some cards on each table, which is a Mojaki card. So if you download the app and you place the app over the card, it uses image recognition to bring the story to life. You can do it now or later. When you do download the app though, it's going to take about a minute or 2 to download because we've got quite a lot of content in there now. And also you'll need to say yes to the camera. If you say no to the camera, you won't be able to see the artwork and nothing will happen. So if you want to write individual storytelling down, definitely have a go, have a play with the cards and see what you think. The Mojaki story, which is the crocodile that's on your table, is painted everywhere in the Kakadu landscape. And when you see crocodile, people think it must be a story about food because crocodile is on the menu up there. It's not. This story reminds me about kinship relationships in the landscape. So when you see Mojaki, it's saying to you, this is a story about family, and this is what happens particularly to Daluk, which are the women of country when their husbands pass away, and what the caring responsibility are for other brothers who are being in the landscape. And when you see the story told through the app, it's told in Gulwinku, which is Abel Naborbal's language, and then also English. So he alternates between Gulwinku and English in the story. This one is a Namande. So this is a 60,000-year-old spirit figure from the Kakadu landscape. He's really creepy. You can see he has his fingers, really long fingers. Yes, that is testicles. No, that's not a penis. It's a lap. So it's the traditional clothing front and back covering his genitalia. And you'll see he's got a thing coming out the front of him. And people think that that's breast, and they often mistake this character as being androgynous. It's actually a dilly bag, and I'll show you what that does in a second. So I started working with 5 traditional owners in Kakadu to bring their stories to life in AR. And what they wanted to do was be able to bring old and young people together around a new technology so they could share their culture. And one thing they said to me is, when we're on country, it takes us 4 or 5 days to share culture with the young ones. And I was like, what? Why? They should want to know about their culture and their language. And the auntie said, on day 1, they're all on their phones. On day 2, the phone battery goes flat and they're really cranky on day 3. And then they're bored by day 4, so they just start listening to us. And then we can have a really good conversation by day 5. So they wanted to shortcut that process by using technology. So this Nama Day, you can see this is the traditional rock art with Neville. I'm going to use the pointer, there we go. So that's at Monmoy Station in West Arnhem Land, and Neville is one of the senior traditional custodians of that story. But you can see Nama Day on the rock, he's all like carved, like bent over. So we actually had to take measurements with Neville and say, okay, what does this guy look like if he's standing up? And what does he look like from all different angles? So we had to sketch that out with Neville and get him to think in 3 dimensions, which he does anyway, because that's how he sees Nama Day as a traditional owner. And then we had to make him as a 3D base model and say, is this correct? Is this what he looks like when you turn him around at 360 degrees? And Neville was able to also become the Nama Day and show us how he was supposed to move. That's exactly how we animated Nama Day. So what you watched just then was a cultural dance. And what Neville wanted to achieve with Nama Day in 90 seconds was teach the children how to sing the song, how to say the words, how to paint your body in ceremony, and how to do the dance. Which we achieved, which was great. So after we released the app and the cards went a little bit crazy, I realised that there was a massive digital skills gap for our people. And I created a program called Digital Custodians together with Microsoft and Shepard Aboriginal Corporation. And we were able to work with school kids in the classroom, bringing elders together and teaching the kids how to do augmented reality production themselves. us a 3D figure about your mother and what she looks like in the computer, they're really good at doing that. This is one of the characters that one of the kids built. And this is Mia, and Stephen Worrell, who's the managing director of Microsoft, and Mia's dad. And Mia was a student that was attending school about 60% of the time. She had a really high rate of absenteeism even in primary school. So her trajectory through schooling system was not on a good path. And over the 5 sessions of doing digital custodian, she grew confidence, and this year has become a prefect. She takes coding classes in the school holidays, and she's also established a little group in her primary school for the younger kids that are Aboriginal, where she helps lead them through cultural initiatives. And she recently addressed the New South Wales Department of Education executives, and the Sydney Morning Herald picked up her story as well. So what we found through focusing on culture and tech is that it actually improves social outcomes for the kids as well. And this is her seeing her app for the first time. She made Gunagan, which is a starfish, and that part of the story really resonated with her. So it's no point in just training young people in our communities. We believe that we also need to focus on the older people in the community as well. And with Microsoft's support, I was able to get 31 Indigenous women from remote communities across Northern Australia together for 9 months and teach them augmented and mixed reality production and artificial intelligence, blockchain and Internet of Things devices. And these women have gone on to create phenomenal projects that address social outcomes in their community, but also provide business opportunities for them too. And one woman in particular, Lucille Casa, This lady here, she'd never picked up a computer before in her life, and within 3 days was starting to code C++. And over the last 9 months, she's taught herself 3 coding languages from a remote community. She literally goes into town, drives 3 hours from her community, downloads all the course content material, drives back and works on that until she's ready for the next session. She's now creating apps and web portals for her community to sell their artworks internationally without needing a middleman. And I think one story that's really pertinent to this is when the traditional owners came down to Sydney for the week. They saw baskets that they had woven in their community for sale at the Sydney Opera House for $2,500. Guess how much they get paid for them? $10.
Yeah.
So this new skill enables them to sell to direct markets at a fair market rate. So what's next? I don't know, have you guys heard of the Earth Bank of Codes? You have. Do you want to know a little bit about the Earth Bank of Codes? It's a little bit of a scary one. It's about 3 minutes video, so yes or no? Yeah, okay.
How could blockchain, technology originally developed to underpin Bitcoin, save the Amazon rainforest? The Amazon is the largest and most biodiverse rainforest on Earth, spanning 8 countries. Its unique plant and animal species have already helped create industries worth billions of dollars. Many valuable pharmaceutical drugs, for example, are derived from rainforest plants. The problem is that the countries in the Amazon basin see too little of the benefits. In the 19th century, Brazil had a thriving rubber industry thanks to the Amazon's native rubber trees. But a British explorer took rubber tree seeds from Brazil and used them to establish plantations in Southeast Asia, virtually wiping out Brazil's rubber industry. These so-called biopirates have plundered the Amazon ever since, making their fortunes from the forest's biological riches, while the countries of origin gain little or no benefit. The Nagoya Protocol, implemented in 2010, was an attempt to make the system fairer. It involved over 100 countries, all agreeing that if money was made from biological assets, the country of origin must get a fair share of the benefits. But in reality, the Nagoya Protocol is hard to implement. Keeping track of where biological assets come from, how they are used, and who is profiting from them is difficult. This is about to change. The Amazon Bank of Codes is the first phase of a global partnership between the Earth Bank of Clothes, the Earth Biogenome Project, and the World Economic Forum. The ambitious project aims to map all complex life in the Amazon by sequencing the genomes of the forest's unique plants, animals, and microbes. This biological big data will be made accessible for scientific or commercial use, whilst ensuring that any money made from it is equally shared. If it worked, it could unlock a new bioeconomy that is more profitable, inclusive, and sustainable than existing forest industries like logging and cattle ranching. Such an ambitious project is possible because of a new technology called blockchain. Originally developed to support Bitcoin, blockchain is a digital record of transactions that can't be tampered with. Every piece of biological data from the Amazon, whether that's snake venom, frog DNA, or medicinal plants, will be given a digital fingerprint that is traceable. Whenever the data are used or sold, the transactions will be recorded on the blockchain for all to see. This will make it possible to track who does what with the Amazon's riches and automatically distribute the benefits back to the country of origin, thus giving the custodians of the forest a stake in its preservation. The project is ambitious and faces several challenges, not least getting the countries in the Amazon to help map and share their biological data. If the Amazon becomes a place where knowledge is extracted rather than raw materials, local economies will boom even as nature is left to thrive.
So that's something that Indigenous people are looking at with keen interest. And I go back to my copper grub producing antibiotics. Now, what benefit sharing arrangements are there for the use of one copper grub? But also, how can we protect our cultural knowledge and everything if projects that are ambitious like that are only deal at a country level, they're not dealing with First Peoples. So my next thing is learning deeply about environmental genomics, environnomics, and working out how the technology actually works so I can work with First Peoples across the world to understand those 4 questions about how projects like this work. And been fortunate enough to be able to go to the United Nations the last 4 years and start having dialogues with key players about how we change this up for First Peoples so we're at the forefront of helping to develop these technologies but also benefit sharing in the technology as well. So thank you very much.
We have lots of time for questions.
Who's going to be first?
Well, I'll start actually. Well, what I was thinking when you were talking about protecting your culture and protecting what I would call new data and information. 2 days ago, we were talking about how do we enable open access, and it almost seems now as though you're closing it down.
Yeah, I don't think we're closing it down, but I think what we're trying to do is make sure that we have a seat at the table to at least discuss what's going on with our cultural knowledge. I mean, our copper grub, we've been using that since time began as a medicine. Now, if that was commercialised and completely shuts our tribe out of any economic benefit, and we're also moving into the 4th Industrial Revolution where our people are going to need complex digital skills to have jobs. We need other forms of economy to help support our tribe. So I don't think it's shutting it down, I think it's just making sure that we have a place at the table.
Yeah, fair enough. Questions? Lydia is wandering around with the microphone.
You can ask anything, I'm an open book. If it's about culture, there's no stupid questions about culture.
Well, I'll ask one based on my experience so far in Australia. I was looking at art.
Yeah.
And some of the art was titled and some of it was untitled, and the curator of the gallery said the art is untitled because the artist doesn't want to reveal. So if that is indeed the case, you can clarify that first. But the second part of that would be that how do you know you have accurate stories?
Yeah, that's right. So yes, a lot of traditional artists won't name art, or they won't explain the story of the art for that reason. And Neville, actually, who did Number Day, is one of those people happy for people to sing on the news, happy for people to listen to the song. But the cultural knowledge that's contained within that story at that point was just for him and his community. And so we need to respect that. It's called self-determination. So we're self-determined about when and where and how we share our cultures. In terms of authenticity of artwork, it's a very big question because we have a big problem in Australia, and I know New Zealand faces this as well, where we've got people making our artworks from Indonesia and selling them into Australia as fake art. So yeah, we're having a big inquiry into fake art right now and how we fix that issue. And it's raising big questions about what if an Aboriginal person is the custodian of that story but wants to mass produce something and they can't find an outlet to mass produce it in Australia. Can they mass produce it somewhere else? So there's a lot of questions about authenticity and what that means. And the third part of your question was, how do you know about the story being authentic? Well, it's up to the artist to tell you whether they want to tell you or not.
But if they're doing an interpretation, so the cave, I'm not sure the cave, this is what parallelism in my country. Cave paintings are limited, so 21st century person doing an interpretation of a 1,000-year-old object. How do you know?
Yeah.
The chap in your video who was doing the body motion, how do you know?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question that I can definitely answer. So our peoples we're the oldest living cultures in the world in Australia, and we've had accurate translation of what's happened in this country for at least 80,000 years. And science is corroborating Western science is corroborating our traditional knowledge. So, for example, there's stories about sea level rises happening like 100 metres over 7 generations, and when you look in the geological timescale, you're like, actually that happened right when you said it happened. So we've got a really strong way of translating knowledge orally, and it's the only ways that we wrote things down were artworks are not artworks. They're our ways of sharing stories. So we painted, we carved, and we told stories, and we wove, and that's the way that we share our culture. And there's very, very strict rules about who can and can't share particular parts of the culture. And remember I showed you that songline map earlier? Do you reckon that looks like a blockchain? Yeah, I reckon we invented blockchain. So when we would have a piece of cultural knowledge, in order to run that knowledge to the next community, you had to solve a crypto puzzle. So to unlock the next piece of knowledge. So not everyone has all the knowledge. Okay, so our people recognise that we have expertise in particular areas for particular reasons, and other people have the other part of that expertise that you need to make the thing work.
Kathy?
So I find it fascinating that that has worked for so long. One of the things that was striking in your presentation was, how do we preserve this for hundreds of years to come?
Yeah.
And so I guess your thoughts on how to make sure that future-proofing happens.
Yeah, the question is around future-proofing, and I really thought hard about this because I'm the victim of people not future-proofing things. So researchers came into our Darug tribes in the 1980s and said, hey elders, put everything on VHS and it'll be there for the future generations. That's me, I can't watch it. I don't have a VHS player and no one in my community has one either. So what happened was people thought the technology is a silver bullet and put everything on there and didn't upkeep the knowledge through CDs and DVDs and USBs and databases and cloud, and now we've got blockchain. So I think that's part of the motivation for digital custodians. It's not only being able to ask the right questions about the tech, but also empower people in the community to know that you need to keep an eye on what these future technologies are, because you've got some really important information that you're codifying right now, and that needs to be translated, whether it's by machine or whether it's by people. That's up to the technology, but it's really important that we don't just sit and forget, because having built an app and having the app out for 3 years now, I've had to upgrade that app 4 times. Google Play Store has changed their hosting arrangements, so we had to create an entirely new version of the app to suit new devices that were coming out. It costs money to host every year, it costs money to upgrade every year, and now people don't have the capacity or the funds to be able to do that ongoing. So that's why we want to make sure people in our communities are skilled to be able to do this ourselves. question.
Thank you. Teresa.
Michaela, thank you very much for sharing your story and your hopes for the future. When I first heard you speak some years ago, you shared that lovely story about how Clara served as a site for learning and for your own exploration to make sense of new worlds. And I'm wondering if you could say something about that experience, but also how new forms of learning might enable Indigenous peoples and communities that are remote to be players in this world.
Yeah, so I got to meet Ramona Pearson, who's amazing in person. If you haven't checked her out online. She's incredible. She's the founder of a platform called Clara. It's like a neural network that's the information is validated by peers, I guess, in the community. And it's a place where I jump online, and if I want to know about something that's new, it just gets served up to me using AI. I love it. But the key thing about that is you need an internet connection. And a lot of our communities across Australia and in fact the world don't have internet connectivity. And where we do, it's very expensive. So in Australia, traditional owner communities will have around 30 gigabytes a month for the entire community via satellite, and they pay about $250 a month for that. So you can imagine when it clicks over to the time where you've got your data back, everyone's on there checking YouTube and Facebook and all the things, and the data's gone within a couple of days. So that's the kind of connectivity environment that we're dealing with in Australia at the moment. So with digital custodians, we found a platform that enables us to host all the training content where you can download the entire package and then take it back to your community on your device and go through the training, which is really helping us. And I'm still saying we're not waiting for the internet to come to our communities to learn tech skills. We're doing it now, and without the internet, and when the internet comes, we'll be ready.
Other questions? I see hands on the bottom.
I'm trying to
Any questions?
pass it on.
Thanks very much, Michaela. It's really interesting. My name is Luann Freund, and I'm coming from the Canadian context. And we know in our school we're working to build better relationships with Indigenous communities, but we know that there's a long history of library and archives and information science institutions and individuals not having good relationships, not with Indigenous communities. So it's really impressive to see that you're working with Microsoft and you built a partnership there. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about, do you have partnerships here with libraries, archives, cultural institutions, and what you think makes for a good partnership? What is essential in these kinds of partnerships?
Yeah, definitely. So, I understand the anxiety around libraries and archives and museums, and I had a personal experience. That letter there of my ancestor is owned by the government. It's not owned by my family. So, yeah, we have a lot of those kind of issues to deal with. Partnering with Microsoft was a game changer for us, and I think what makes it a good partnership is they've spent 2 years listening. They don't dictate what we do, they allow us the space to have dialogue. They've convened an advisory board of 12 Indigenous people from around Australia, and we kind of talk about what are the needs, and we talk to our communities about what their needs are. So it's really a needs-based partnership, and I feel really privileged to be in a spot where I can start to influence how big tech corporations work with Aboriginal people and how Aboriginal people have the opportunity to work with big tech. And I keep saying to Microsoft that there's not a 1-800 number, knock on our door and we'll work with you kind of thing. So I think we need to, as communities, help Indigenous communities make those connections into people that can help. And libraries and museums are in the same boat. I think too that when you walk into a library or a museum in Australia, and particularly, there's a few libraries in Australia and museums in Australia that are really changing things, which is great to see. Ordinarily, when you walk into a remote or a rural community facility, it doesn't look like you, it doesn't look like your culture. There's got nothing in there in your language. So it is a place that seems to be for other people. Yeah, so making more of an effort to invite people in to design their own space. And I know Queensland Library have done that really well, where they've made a space and they really listen to traditional owners about what they want to see in that space to make it inviting to the community. Hope that answered your question.
So the way we're going to do it, Michael, we're going to hand the baton to Michael and then to Ron.
Okay.
And then we're coming way over to this side of the room.
Okay.
Where's the microphone now?
The mic is right at the side of the room.
Okay, well, let's start over there.
Thank you very much. It's a wonderful speech. I'm impressed by this learning opportunity for younger students and the 21st century skills. Those are very important. And cultural heritage is very interesting for them. And you also mentioned that it's in your plan that you're going to promote this to more schools. And the example you gave was for gifted children, right? But it's so valuable that we should promote it to ordinary schools and more children. So I was wondering if you have any good experience to share. How do we promote that? Or if there's any challenges that we need to be aware if we want to do similar things.
Yeah, sure. Great question. So we did start with gifted Aboriginal students in the pilot, which is what the video was on. It's been 9 months since we rolled that program out, and we've fully redesigned the program so it's not just for Aboriginal students, it's for all students. And the reason is what that program allowed students to do from an Aboriginal side was take a leadership role in the classroom and in school, and we'd like to continue that model where kids that are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders get to have that leadership opportunity in their class with other students, because it's not often that our kids get to know something before everyone else knows about it, and culture is one of those areas where they're experts. So yes, we do, when we roll out next year, it will be for all students, regardless of your cultural heritage. Yeah, did that answer your question? Was there another part of your question? Sorry. Oh, challenges, yeah. The biggest challenge was getting started, I think. So inviting elders into the classroom, that was something that was challenging because school systems have their own people that they work with in the community, and they might not necessarily be the cultural people from that particular area. So that was a challenge that we had to overcome. And another challenge actually was the teachers were amazing and supportive, but what I found as a technologist and someone who just wanted to get the job done is I found the teachers were harnessing the kids quite a bit in the classroom. So the kids adopted the technology very quickly, and because we hadn't trained the teachers prior to the program, the teachers kept asking the kids to slow down and saying, we weren't up to that bit, come back until we sort this bit out and then you can do that bit. So in the next generation of digital custodians, we're actually focusing on working with teachers, so the teachers can work confidently with the students.
Thank you. I think we're over.
Thank you, Michaela. I'm Michael, also from UTS in Sydney. So I have a couple. First, before I ask my questions, I wanted to say how wonderful it is to hear about this work, how directly you're addressing some of the major issues, the cultural damage done with Indigenous people in this country. So that's fantastic. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, in part because I was just at the beginning of a project with Tranby around their Indigenous archives, and as the whitest guy in the world, I'm very conscious of my lack of expertise here. But, so, you're working with multiple Indigenous communities across multiple cultures and multiple languages. How are you, so how are you organising the material? Are you seeing it as discrete sets, or are you adopting some kind of overall approach? And if so, what is it? So I really would like to know.
Yeah, so I mentioned self-determination is really important and free prior and informed consent for Indigenous communities. So the first part of the process is actually to meet with traditional owner groups and work out what they want to share, what their price is. So we pay traditional owners to work with us, so they earn as well. And they determine what is taught, and they determine what language assets are used, and they determine how the program will flow. What we've done is develop a frame. So the frame is relevant to any Indigenous communities around the world, but it allows people to plug in their unique cultures. And when they do that, they can determine, is this just for local use, or is it okay if it's used regionally or nationally or internationally as a teaching resource?
They use Mercator.
No, we've got our own platform. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, it didn't really exist what we needed, so we just built one.
Hi, my name is Ron Tan. I'm a faculty at ASIS&T in Boston. I want to also say what a wonderful effort you have been doing in terms of linking children with recreating, re-experiencing culture, and also in the meantime preserve the culture. My question, I think you already sort of partially answered, is about financial sustainability. You have partnership from industry. I wonder whether you have reached out to government, community, and sort of non-profit foundation, foundations that can actually financially sustain your effort. And even though you said that Microsoft didn't interfere the process, it's really a good collaboration, people will always have suspicions about corporate involvement, industry partnership, what do they want to get out of it? Yeah. So I wonder whether you have thoughts about, more partnering with community to make it more sustainable, even organizations and places like UN. I don't know whether they have financial ability to support this kind of cultural related project.
Yeah. Sustainability as an environmentalist is number one. I had to go through a series of iterations of how a business model looks for this because everyone's like, well, okay, that's great, but how do you make money? So I don't want to just make money for myself. We're a social enterprise, so we want to make money for community as well. And I made it a business because I would like First Peoples to be able to value our culture economically as well as intrinsically. So people get paid to work with us, and they get paid to learn about technology as well. And with the cards that you have in front of you, we sell those cards, and 50% of the profit goes back to the artists. And we've paid $20,000 in royalties in the last 2 years just from the cards. And that's a really tiny project, right? It's not a big project. When we look at something like digital custodians, it has a national scale. There's a huge earning opportunity for traditional owners and communities. And we do partner with Shared Path Aboriginal Corporation, and they are a not-for-profit organisation that works with Aboriginal communities to build sustainable business models around culture. So they're part of the partnership, and they give a lot of advice to communities in this space about, so you work within digital, you're learning tech skills. Now that you've learned the tech skills, like Auntie Lucille, who's like now a major coder, they'll work with her and say, okay, now how do we build a business around this for you? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing your inspirational work. And I'm curious, I guess in particular, since you're talking to a room of scientists, what are some of the questions that you have that you wish you knew, so that way we could work on research that would help you further succeed in everything wonderful that you're doing?
Yeah, great. Thank you for the question. I'm in a very privileged position because I'm trained as both a Western scientist and a cultural person. So it's kind of easier for me to look at two sciences. I think as Western scientists, we don't acknowledge Indigenous science as being a legitimate science. And that has a lot of problems for our people. So in order to be a Western scientist, you do the science, you've got the hypothesis, you've got the null hypothesis, you do the journals, you get the peer review, and then if it's all hunky-dory, then it gets ticked off with science. We can't do that. We can't access that kind of system in Indigenous systems. but what we have is science, and we know a lot of science. And I think as scientists in the Western world, it would be amazing if there was a way to look at how do we bring Indigenous science and knowledge to the table with the same level of respect that we do Western science. And someone asked me last night about the difference between Indigenous and Western science, and I think in Western science we do have a holistic perspective, but we tend to get very narrow when we're going into peer-reviewed journal papers about things, whereas Indigenous science is way more holistic than that, and it looks at the system as a whole. And I think there are two tensions that we could probably work on as a community of scientists to almost bridge that gap, and it's not necessary to join the sciences necessarily, but having mutual respect for the sciences is something that I think would be amazing. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Very fascinating. You said you came to all this at 29.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if you can tell us how did you learn about finding, there must be more people in a situation, so how do you take this then for people to begin to learn about a culture that they've never been immersed in?
Yeah.
What else do you do?
Yeah, so it's a really long journey. Actually, when I found out when I was 29, I tried to take my life. It's that heavy, right? You are raised thinking one thing about yourself, and then to find out later in life. So I probably knew when I was around 21 when the nutritionist were telling me, that's when I got like an inkling that there was something there. For it to happen in 2 states across the country, there's something in that, right? I did spend probably like 7 or 8 years looking for my tribe before I found it at 29, and that was a relief, but it was really depressing at the same time, because I had to redefine who I was and why everything that I knew about the world, why I knew about it. And we have intergenerational trauma, but we also have intergenerational hope. So when I came out of that process of mourning, my auntie said something really powerful to me. She said, Michaela, it's okay, you've had the scales taken off your eyes now, and you're going to go forward really strong until you get snow on your hair and valleys in your cheeks. And that gave me enough power to take the first step and take back control of my identity and the identity of my people. And then I had a lot of questions. What's our language? Who are we? What is our country? Who are the rest of my family? What's our collective story? And then you have a lot of people who have grown up with their culture saying, well, you're not a culture person because you didn't grow up with it. But in Australia, we have stolen generations in Australia, and as many other countries do as well. And I guess I'm really positive about the role that people that grow up disconnected from their culture can play in kind of reconciliation and bridging that gap, because we can see the world in 2 ways. So I try and talk to people about my story, because I think there's a lot of people that go through the same thing, and often after conferences when I do share my story, there's 1 or 2 people who come up and say, I've just discovered my Aboriginal heritage, what's my next step? And that's a very personal journey. I can't tell them like, this is the exact way that you need to go about finding about your history, but I guess I can say to them that, okay, well you know, so the next step is to find your people, and there's a number of resources in Australia that can help you do that, and just try reaching out to family. And one of the amazing things in reaching out to family in Australia is actually social media. So there's an Aboriginal woman called Rowan Carlson who's done a lot of research into how Aboriginal people use social media. And non-Aboriginal people will actively block family members in their social channels. Aboriginal people are the exact opposite. We collect family through social. So that's a really great platform to be able to find where you are. Not always, there's 1 or 2 people every week on our direct Facebook saying, hey, I just found out I'm part of a family. What do I do now?
Thank you, Michaela, for sharing your journey. My name is Naresh Agarwal, and I am Associate Professor at the School of Library and Information Sciences at the University of Boston. My question is more about the future. You've had an incredible journey, and what are the challenges that still remain? What is it that you would like to do to try to circumvent and surpass some of those challenges? And how can people in this room help you with meeting some of those challenges?
Yeah, amazing question, thank you. So as I mentioned, mining nature is a huge opportunity and a threat for our people. And, well, it's not in the future, it's actually happening already. So, yeah, that is a really big question that I have. And also the question around, well, 80% of the world's remaining biodiversity is managed or controlled by Indigenous peoples. And as resources become scarcer, and these opportunities to mine nature become greater, we're going to have a lot of pressure put on our communities to instantly understand things like blockchain and AI and machine learning and genomics and all these other sciences that are really exciting. I talked to my friend Chief Tashki Yawanawas in the Amazon, and he's like, Michaela, what does all this mean? And I'm getting people calling me from Puerto Rico, from Barbados, from Peru, from Borneo, asking me about drones and asking me about all this technology. I'm just one person, right? I can't help everyone in the world all the time. So I think we've got an amazing room of people here who are scientists that when we've got opportunities to engage Indigenous people, please do it in your local community. And the other thing to remember is we're scientists and get this stuff. These people may not have ever opened a computer before. So trying to temper our conversations with communities, acknowledging that we have extreme biases towards how things work and what the opportunities and threats are. So when I work with communities, I try really hard to explain what's under the hood of technology so they can make self-determined decisions about using it in a community or not. And yeah, I think if anyone wants to work with us in rolling out things like digital custodians, please hit me up. It's a global challenge that we're all facing. And it's not just Indigenous peoples, it's ethnic minorities, it's people in poorer regions of the world who don't get access to electricity, so they can't have a computer, so they can't develop the skills that are needed in the fourth industrial revolution. So while there'll be lots of jobs that are augmented through automation, for example, there's lots of jobs being created in the tech sector too, and we've got unequal opportunity to benefit from them.
Thank you.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I just want to follow up on your comment a couple of times on what being asked by women in the community about your people or how you fit in, and your comments then family and involved family. And as a student intern in the 90s, I traveled to Plenary in Baltic country, and like straight away one of the things that struck me was the importance of kinship relations. And the first question you get asked everywhere is like, who are you related to, and how, and that determines so much of their social responsibilities. And I guess I have a question about, I love the work you're doing with the children and education, and knowing how much children are fascinated by family and kinship. What you've thought at all about maybe opportunities for sharing social knowledge about kinship and social responsibility, and if so, what kind of challenges you might come to see in that?
Yeah, that's a really deep question because family's everything. So, I think working with traditional owner groups and giving them self-determination about content is first and foremost. So if that's where they want to go with the content, then the platform and the framework is free to accommodate that kind of stuff. And in fact, we're working with the logical people in Perth and Taiwan, and rather than talk about drinking stories in the program, they want to talk about the right way to be in the community. So I think communities are already thinking about those things, and communities will deal with what their most painful things are first. So if it is around kinship and relationships, I feel like they'll go there first rather than language or law. But thanks for the question.
We're going to wait for the microphone to
Okay.
migrate across the room.
You're going to get your steps up, my sister.
Hi, Mike Pryor from the University of Illinois. I was really struck by your story about the $25,000 baskets. And how little money went to the people who made the baskets. Firstly, that's unfair, but secondly, there's often an argument in this that this kind of work, there's no money in it, so how can we possibly do it? Well, there is money. You know, you told us there is money. It's just it's going into the wrong pockets.
Yeah.
So, do you have ideas of how this money could be distributed more equitably, so that true markets can work?
Definitely. I think blockchain is a really good step towards a solution there. So if you can establish the provenance of an artwork through blockchain and all the transactions that ever happen to that artwork through blockchain, which is an immutable ledger, so that's to be true. I think that would really help. I know that there's some Aboriginal groups looking into blockchain for that exact purpose at the moment, which I'm really excited about. I hope they're very successful in doing that because when you watch an auntie crying at the shop window because she's seen how massively ripped off she's been for the last few years, it's heartbreaking and wrong and unethical, and I'm hoping that there's a tech solution that can help support them earn the money that they're entitled to. We dealt with this in Kakadu too, so the shop in Kakadu had a little sign saying, before you complain about the $200 basket that's that big, let us tell you how it's made. And I worked with Auntie Mandy Mila, who's a Murumba woman, and we made an augmented reality piece around that, so when you put the phone up to the shop tag, it's her doing every step of the process in like 90 seconds. So it's like going to harvest it, going to peel the thing off. The way that actually we weave in Australia is interesting. It's not just stripping leaves. You have to peel the cuticle off, and that's the bit that gets woven. And for the life of me, I can't do that. That's years of practice. We're very skilled, so explaining that process. Then you've got to go out of the country and dig up all the dyes and make the dye, and then you've got to put the strand in the dye, and then you've got to dry it, and then you weave it. So it's a really long process, and I think AI was good in explaining that, but I think blockchain is probably the fairer platform to help people with equitable trading. Yeah. I hope they build it, and I hope they build it soon.
Michael, thank you for this inspiring speech. When we are talking about protecting Aboriginal culture and art, there is also misunderstanding around Aboriginal techniques and the right of Aboriginal people to protect these techniques. Yeah. Is there a way to use digital technology to educate other artists and to educate the world about the importance and meaning of that protection?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I know Terry Janke, who's an absolutely amazing Indigenous lawyer in Australia, works very hard on this exact issue. She represents people at WIPO overseas, which is a World Intellectual Property Organisation. What the challenge is that we face around the uniqueness, around aspects of our culture is, copyright is for like physical things, or like the creator owns the copyright of it. You've got moral rights, and then you've got collective community rights, and Western laws aren't framed around collective community rights of anything, it's all individualised. So there is a group of people, and probably many groups of Indigenous peoples around the world looking at this exact challenge, and I think it's a really tough nut to crack, because it's going to require legislative change and international law change around what intellectual property is and who it gets vested in. So with our agreements, we work at a collective community level or an individual level, and it depends on the community. So we have licensing agreements for the content that you see in the app, and they determine whether the benefit sharing is to the individual who's the artist or whether it's to the community. It's a really hard one. And again, I think we just, the fact that there's nothing that protects us really, I think we just have to be ethical about it and work with what we've got to help protect the regional differences in our cultures. And I think about this at a macro level too. I don't want to travel around the world and go and see the same culture in another country. But I think as humans and human populations, we need to think about this, our cultures and what we want to maintain. And I just see a lot of westernisation when I travel around the world, and I think it's a real shame that we don't have a dialogue within our communities about what makes us unique and what part of that uniqueness we want to continue with our own tribes and our own peoples. And it's not just Aboriginal people, there's like cheesemakers in Italy and
language people in other parts of Europe that are thinking about this as well in terms of their cultures. I hope I answered your question. It's a really big question. I'm sorry. It's like lots of international law and lots of ethics and morals are involved in the answering that question.
You see another hand over there?
I have one that I've been trying to figure out whether I was going to ask or not.
Just ask it.
I have read it here, so gives me permission. You started this discussion and emphasized the gender part.
Yes.
You're a woman who's made an amazing success. And you've also emphasized the other side, which is the indigenous, and we can certainly understand that with maybe not in their shoes.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to the young people in the audience about how to succeed in those worlds? We really made amazing success to take away the culture in the tech world. And I still go to committee meetings and I'm the only female at the table.
Yeah, well that's a big question, isn't it? Often I'm the only woman talking about what mentoring brings mixed reality. I think having grown up in a career being a park ranger, I know it's a very male-dominated industry because a lot of park rangers came from forestry and only dudes could do forestry. And that was into the 70s and 80s, so I've grown up in a career environment that's full of men. And I think after I sort of had to grow myself again after trying to take my life, I think I discovered that that's rock bottom and that's the lowest point that anyone in their life can ever go, and nothing is a risk after that. And that empowered me to speak more and speak up and say, no, that's not appropriate. Or also, as I progress through my career, so I'm in the senior management team in parks now, I think it's my responsibility as a woman to step aside and give opportunities to the young women that are coming into being park rangers, and I do that in the tech sector as well. So if I'm offered an opportunity, always try and find space for someone else to take the opportunity. So we need to give women opportunities as women, not just as men. So I try and tackle it that way, but it is really challenging. And there was lots of girls in my science course, and then I'm the only one with one other out of 20 students that went on to actually have a science career. So that's hard, and women in Australia only get between 2 and 5% of venture capital for their startups. So I kind of align myself with organisations that are trying to rock a boat in that, like SheEO. If you haven't checked out SheEO, it's a micro-investing organisation where we all chuck in $1,500 every year and we invest in 5 female-founded startups. So I'm not waiting until I'm a multi-gazillionaire to invest in other women's businesses. I'm doing it now through micro-investing. So just finding those communities that are trying to change the outcome for women in science, women in tech is important to me. And I'll always lend my voice to supporting women in these career spaces because we need women. I mean, when Apple, like, who's got the Apple Watch? Someone, Kathy's got the Apple Watch. So when that came out, right, it monitors everything. It's got biometrics in there, it's amazing. But they didn't think about a period tracker. And they didn't think about a pregnancy tracker. There's 51% of the population that would have loved those apps, but simply didn't get built because no one in the engineering team is thinking about that stuff. So, yeah, I think there's fabulous opportunities for women in tech, and I see tech companies around the world saying, where are the women? Like, we want more women. So, yeah.
Good point. Actually, there's a company in the UK that this year is having a policy on how to deal with menopausal women. Deal with is not a great word, but enable.
Yeah, someone who's going to go through menopause one day, I'm really excited about that.
Any last words? Any last words, comments, or questions? Well, I'd like to thank Michaela very much.
When you think about our community, we have somebody from culture, we have somebody from technology, or we have somebody who is an entrepreneur. But how often do we have all of these characteristics in the same person? I mean, this has been a very wonderful way. I thank you two ladies for organizing this, a wonderful way in which to start our conference. And I really want to especially thank you, Michaela, for coming coming to give us a view on how you are managing Australia's cultural heritage. Maybe you'll help the rest of the world manage theirs as well. So
Thank you very much.
A wonderful role model, I think, for the females in the audience as well, and the young students. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I think it's great.
We're going to have a coffee break starting at 3. There's 20 minutes. We've done that quite deliberately because it's going to take you 20 minutes to find a coffee break. You might have to get sucked into about 5 casinos on your way there, and we do apologize for that. But coffee downstairs near the registration desk, and you can find it in 20 minutes. And then we'll start our paper sessions in earnest right after that. Don't forget about the multiple receptions this evening. See you later, folks.